into the segment with some breaking inputs coming in from London. We're learning of a fire that has taken place at the London Bridge station. These are the fresh and the latest visuals that we are bringing to you of the fire that's taken place at the London Bridge. This is the latest we're bringing to you. For more details, let's quickly go across to Sanjay Suri. Sanjay, if you could bring us details of these shocking visuals. We can see smoke billowing out. Is there security being provided? Are there rescue forces now swinging into action?
Yes, they clearly are, and this was really about a peak time on a weekday, and this is a very, very busy area. And we hear that 10 fire engines and about 70 firefighters are currently, engaged in trying to get this under control. This broke out in the railway arches in Southwark, and that is right next to London Bridge. And this is where the fire broke out, and this is not just a very busy work area, it's a very busy transit area. There are hundreds and thousands of commuters who come in through this area into town, and this is also very busy and crowded office area. So evacuation is the critical issue, and that is underway at the moment. And the rescue teams are doing all they can to see that they can get people safely out of the area.
Right. Also, what are you learning in terms of the status of the residents? And as you rightly mentioned, that this is also an area which is full of working people. What is the status of these people?
Well, there were many in the offices, and of course, there is a very busy evacuation underway at the moment. There is concern also about people who are resident in this area because there are housing blocks here. There are several multi-story housing blocks, and with those, fire and the spread of fire is always a concern. Evacuation is always more of a challenge. And there would be a challenge particularly for the elderly within who may not be as alert to responding to an alarm as might some others. So the attempt is to stop the fire from spreading and to evacuate all the areas possible just in case the fire does spread to buildings nearby. We know that it has spread to a car park. People from there are reported to have been rushed away to a safe location, but the fire is not entirely under control yet. And let's not forget, it's not just the fire; it's the smoke that can be a very, very big danger because it can cause asphyxiation. And therefore, if you can be safe from the fire, but if you're in the vicinity, it's still a very dangerous situation.
Absolutely. And for the benefit of all our viewers who are just tuning in, let me take them through these very dramatic visuals that have come in from London Bridge. As Sanjay was pointing out, we're looking at this huge blaze that has taken place between London Bridge and Waterloo East stations. As Sanjay was also pointing out that several firefighters have already reached and that evacuation currently is high priority for these firefighters. As Sanjay also pointed out that it is not just the fire which can prove extremely fatal, it is also the smoke that you can see that's billowing out of the station. Some very, very dramatic footage on the left of and the right side of your screens. As you can see, this is not just a residential area but also a commercial area where several people in fact head out for their work. And as Sanjay was pointing out that the fire has taken place at a very critical hour during the day when people have been working. Sanjay, if you could also let me know and our viewers what could be the possible reasons for this massive blaze, because going by the visuals we are seeing, this seems like absolutely massive pillars of smoke billowing out of the station.
Well, we just heard from the fire brigade, and the fire office was they were naturally asked what the reason is and what the source is of this fire. They said the cause is not yet known. As we know, the cause itself can be a very little minor matter. It doesn't take a lot to start something going wrong. It could be a short circuit. It could be a careless act. But once it's out of control, then of course there's no stopping unless it is brought under control by the firefighters. And given the fact that you have a lot of construction in this area and that the roads and streets are fairly narrow here, both the evacuation will be a challenge, and also getting the fire engines to the right locations will be a challenge.
Those are some very pertinent challenges that have been pointed out by you, Sanjay. Having said that, if we look at the location of this massive blaze, it's taking place between the London Bridge and the Waterloo East stations. That means another important and crucial challenge for the firefighters is going to be to contain it from spreading through the tracks and from entering those train carriages.
Yes, the trains have been stopped. There are no trains coming into Southwark and London Bridge as of now. And these are very, very busy stations. London Bridge, not just for people within London, but for a lot of people who come to work in London from the southeast and southwest of the country particularly. And leading up to these is Clapham Junction, which is the busiest railway station in the country. And therefore, there's a lot of train traffic that has been stopped. The question now is who was there and who is there when the fire broke out, and how they can be, evacuated from that place and moved into safety. The reason you have still not more firefighters just about everywhere is that the streets there are quite narrow. The police are trying to make sure that other people do not enter this larger area, and also trying to work with residents and with office staff to get an inventory of where, or so to speak, of where people are, where they could be, and trying to move them out. All offices do regularly have a drill in place, what to do in case of fire, what the exits are, where they should assemble. The fire brigade would know where the assembly points are. The police would know where they are. And those who have assembled there will know what to do, and they would be safe. The question will be those who may not have made it to those points, and that will be the challenge for the fire brigade.
Absolutely, Sanjay. And as we speak, I'm also getting in some very crucial reactions on Twitter as well. People have been posting dramatic images and videos of this massive fire that has broken out. What we are learning from details that have emerged online is that around 9:29 a.m. roughly London time is when this blaze took place. Remember, this is a developing story, and Sanjay Suri will keep bringing us as more information pours in. And with that, it's a wrap of this newscast. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates continue on CNN News 18.